Perfect. Okay, very good morning to everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Chris, and I'm one of the Shortcuts educators and content creators. So for this morning, we're going to be going through one of my absolute favorite features, and it's a pretty much guaranteed way to increase revenue. And it also will sort of bridge the gap between certain services. So for example, we know how difficult, we know how frustrating it can be when those clients book right at the end of the day for the color, but they don't book a book back service or anything like that. So today we're going to be running through one of my absolute favorite features called related and recommended services. If this is your first time joining me on one of my masterclass, thank you ever so much for joining me. Just to give you a bit of a brief breakdown, we usually have a very brief PowerPoint. I like to get into the fun demonstration side of things. There is always a little bit of housekeeping just before we do get started. The duration of this class is going to be approximately 30 minutes to 45 minutes. Now, if you are a regular, which is fantastic, if you are a regular, you will know my masterclasses usually take around an hour. But the reason for this one this morning is quite simply, it is very quick and very simple to set up what I'm about to show you. It can be done in roughly 5 minutes. Now, there are lots of little add-ons we can do to this moving forward, but the beauty is, if you do decide to go for this feature, and I'm sure you will, if you do decide to go for this feature, we will always have a one-to-one training session with you if you feel you need it, and then we can sort of use that to chain link into other things as well. But as always, the duration of this class will be approximately 30 minutes to 45 minutes long. As always, my microphone is switched on, whereas everyone else has automatically been muted. But as you will know, if you want to chat with me, if you do want to unmute yourself, feel free to, or you can pop it in the chat box if you do have any questions. And your speakers must be turned on to hear this webinar. So just take a few minutes now. Just make sure you can hear me, got your speakers turned up, everything like that. And as always, questions will be taken during or at the end of the class. But as always, like I said, feel free to join in. If you want to chat with me, feel free to. That's perfectly fine. All of our classes are always added onto YouTube as well, this one in particular. Now, I will just say, ladies and gents, I appreciate you may have to jump off for clients and things like that. But this feature I'm going to show you today, we have a special offer on for all of you that have joined me this morning. Okay, now I am going to reveal what that special offer is to take advantage of this feature. So do stay tuned at the end, or just drop us an email at the end. Okay, then. So what are we going to be going through? We are going to be introducing our related and recommended services. It's a fantastic feature to have. It can be set up in around 5 minutes. Okay, so exactly then what is it? It's all set up through the cloud appointment book, and it really is a way to bridge the gap between, for example, colors and cuts. Now, we know in this day and age, typically, if we book a color, it will typically have a book back service, such as a blow dry, such as a cut, such as a restyle, whatever it may be. And this is the way to bridge those together. So why do we do that? Okay, well, it's a guaranteed way to increase the revenue. So that client automatically that is booking that color will then have to also add in that cut or that blow dry. So already we've increased the sort of average spend of that client, that appointment. But also as well, we know how difficult it can be when those clients book right at the end of the day for a color, but we don't end up having the development time or anything like that. And there's no time to tone, there's no time to finish the service. So this is the way to bridge that gap and increase the revenue. But also on the flip side of that, we're also going to give you recommended services. Okay, so that isn't going to essentially force the appointments together. What it's going to do is it's going to recommend other services. Okay, now we would know typically if we are booking a color, we would probably recommend a toner. Or if we are booking a color, we would recommend an Odaplex, a Wellaplex, a Fiberplex, or whatever treatment it may be. And it's an organic way to upsell. So if you are offering £20 or £30 for that treatment, and we recommend it upon the booking process, we are again increasing the average spend of that client. Now, like I said, at the end, I know quite a few of you joined me halfway through. We're just going through the introductions. We're just talking about related and recommended services, a fantastic feature we're going to be going through. Do stay tuned to the end, because for all of you watching, and a load of you have just joined me as well, for all of you watching, we have a special offer, okay, for all of you watching, okay? So to take this feature on, brand new, we have a special offer on, so do stay tuned at the end. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be introducing those related and recommended services, a way to fuse those appointments together and also recommend other services. So quite simply, ladies and gents, all we need to do is open up our cloud appointment book. Now, for those of you that is naturally going to be new to, you won't be able to do this straight away. We just need to get you signed up for it. But I'm going to demonstrate how very quickly this can be set up, and then we can use it to snowball into a report. We can then look at upfront payments to go alongside with it. And it is a guaranteed way to increase revenue. I think I can't remember the exact figure, but we spoke to a salon before. They'd taken it on. They'd had those related services. Those clients were booking the color. They were then automatically having to book a blow dry, a cut and blow dry, a restyle. They saw an absolutely monumental increase in revenue within the first month. That far, far, far exceeded the small amount of money it costs every month. But don't worry about that now. Like I said, we've got a special offer on. Let me show you how quick and simple it is to set up, and you can see exactly how it functions. So for this morning, ladies and gents, I am going to open up my cloud appointment book, and I'm going to set up my related and recommended services. Perfect. So the first thing we would do, for those of you using your Shortcuts Fusion, I would open up your Shortcuts Fusion system. And this is really just a very quick tip to do. You don't have to do this, but it's a very quick tip. I'm going to pop my pin in. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to Setup. And I'm going to go to my services on the right-hand side. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to expand our categories, okay? Now, you don't have to do this, but it is a fantastic tip moving forward. So, for example, if we go on to hair color here, and if I click onto balayage, and if I click onto details, just down the bottom left-hand corner, what I would recommend is popping a little description in there, maybe just explaining what this particular service is, you know, the difference between a balayage and a dip dye, or a difference between a balayage and a full head of highlights. You may also wish to put in that description something along the lines of requires a cut, requires a blow dry, whatever it may be. And you'll see why we do that in just a sec. So it may be worth just popping that description in there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to click done. And you can go ahead and do that for all of your services if you wish to. We're just going to click on that service, and we're going to click details in the bottom left. Now, for those of you that are very familiar with me, you will know one of my favorite sayings is it's all in the details. And that's why we do that there. We click on the details, and you can pop your description in there, and that will pull through to the booking process. So we can pop a little description in there. And then we're just going to click done, and we would go ahead from there. Now, I'm going to demonstrate how quick and simple it is to set up our feature related and recommended services. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my cloud appointment book. Just here. Okay, so I've opened up the cloud. And in the top left-hand corner, I'm going to click onto the menu icon in the far top left-hand corner. And I'm going to scroll all the way down to an option that says products and services. And I'm going to choose my option that says related services. Okay. Now you can see I haven't got anything set up. Now, for those of you that have just joined us, we're going through related and recommended services. Related services is a way to fuse certain appointment services together. It may be a color requires a cut. Now, the reason we do that is it's a fantastic upsell. It increases revenue automatically. It is also a way to add a slightly better service to that client. You know, in this day and age, a lot of us are offering those cuts and blow dries. We want to finish that color. We want that glamorous, beautiful blow dry to show off the ends. And this is a way to fuse those two appointments together. But we're also going to throw in recommended services, a way to recommend those services together. We're going to recommend a toner. We're going to recommend a treatment when they book a blow dry, or whichever it may be. So it's very simple to set up. Like I said, unless you've signed up for this, you won't have this, but feel free to just watch. We can get you set up at the end. Remember, we do have that special offer on. So it's very quick, it's very simple to set up. All I'm going to do is click the new icon in the bottom right, and I'm going to type in the name. Now this is for my benefit only, okay? So you can call it whatever you want. So I'm going to just put required when making a color booking, okay? So I'm essentially going to say when my clients book online or book through the app, when they book a color service, it requires another service, okay? So I've got required when making a color booking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose the relationship, okay? And we've got two relationships just here. Nice and simple. I'm going to choose require another service, okay? So I've now got my primary services. The primary services are the services that are going to be booked first. So for example, when a client books that color, that is the primary service. That's what they're going to book first. I'm going to click select services. All of your services on the right hand side will appear. Now the services here will have to be bookable online. So what about then if our services do not appear? Very simple. All we need to do is go back to our system and just check we have a tick in the box here where it says web, and it will pull through after around 15 minutes. Okay, so just make sure in our web box just here we've got that tick in that box. Now what you can do if you want all of your primary services to be clicked, so for example my initial primary service is going to be a color. If you want all of them to require another service to be booked afterwards, we can simply tick this box just here and it will multi-select all of them. But no problem, maybe you just want to specify one or two services that require another service. So I can just tick the ones that are relevant just here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to click done. And you can see I've selected 5 services. Now remember, those are my primary services. Those are the ones that will be booked first online. But as we said, these 5 services here, they require another service to be booked alongside them. So underneath, requires at least one of. Now you can select as many as you like here, and it will only be at least one of them, okay? One or the other. They can select multiple if they like, but they don't have to select all of them. So I'm going to say, when a client books any of those 5 color services, those balayages, those 4 header highlights, they are required to book these styling services just here. Now remember, it will just be one of them. They don't have to choose all of those, so don't worry about thinking, are they then going to book braids? Are they then going to book a gents trim up, a ladies blow, a ladies cut and finish, OTD blow, everything like that? It's at least one of them, okay? And I'm just going to click done now. In the bottom right hand corner, I'm going to click save. Oh, name's already in. What are the chances? Let's try something else. Requires when making a color booking. There we go. Excellent stuff. So requires when making color booking. I should just say the name was already in use by one of my colleagues using this test system. It doesn't matter if I use it and another salon uses it and anything like that. Just terribly unfortunate on my part there that one of my colleagues has done exactly the same. Okay, so we've done a required another service, okay? That will basically say when we book these 5 services here, it will require at least one of these 6 services here. But we're also going to add in recommend a service, okay? So it's an organic way to upsell even further. So we're going to recommend another service. Now, it could be when they book a color, it could be when they book a blow dry, that we're going to recommend another service to increase the service that they had, to give them a better appointment, okay? So again, in the bottom right, I'm just going to click new, and I'm going to put recommend a treatment. Okay, it could be recommend Olaplex, could be recommend Fiberplex, whichever it may be. I'm just going to recommend a treatment there. And I'm going to go into my relationship, and this time I'm going to recommend other services. Now again, we've got those primary services, okay? These are the services that have to be booked first. Now, if it was me, I would go ahead and just recommend your styling services, okay? Because a lot of your styling services were linked to my related services. So my primary services, I'm just going to do my braids, gents trim, ladies blow dry, everything like that. And again, underneath, I'm now going to choose the services I wish to recommend as an organic upsell. And I'm going to go to my hair treatments, and I'm just going to add in this treatment just here and click done and click save again. And it is that simple. I think that took us less than 10 minutes. So let's just have a recap. We've added in a required service. So when a client books a color online, any one of these 5 color services just here, we're going to say it requires at least one of these 6 styling services here. Now, on the back of that, I'm also going to recommend additional services. And that's what I've done here. I'm going to recommend a treatment when one of those 6 styling services have been chosen. So I'm going to recommend it alongside my required service there as well. And it's a great way to increase the revenue. It's a fantastic way to give that a little bit extra. And we know as well that a lot of times when a client does book a color, they come in, we recommend the Wellaplex, the Olaplex, the Fiberplex. We recommend those other treatments to go alongside it. Now, the beauty of this is we can already be increasing the average spend of the client 20, 30, or 40 pounds. Now, as we know as hairdressers and barbers and stylists, when we do this, we then often get the client rebooking, and then moving forward, we want them to keep going, oh, that treatment you did on my hair was fantastic. Do you know what? Next time I'm going to book it again. I cannot live without it. And straight away, we have increased the average spend of that bill. So how does it work then? So we're going to go to our online booking. Just going to give that just a quick refresh. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a booking. So we said one of the primary initial services was a color service. So what we're going to do is we're going to click onto balayage. Okay, now please note you've also got these little eye information icons on the right hand side here. This is the description and the details that we spoke about right at the beginning in our Fusion system. So again, it's a great way to highlight and say, you know, maybe this service requires another service to be booked. So I'm going to choose that service there. And you can see straight away we've got the prompt requires an additional service. Okay, so it's only the one. So I'm just going to add the braids in just there. Straight away on the right hand side, we can see in the client's basket, we've got 2 services at £250. Now, as a fail safe, you'll notice we've got a cross here for the balayage, but the braids, remember, were a required service. So let's take a look at this icon just here on the right hand side. So if we click onto it, this type of service is required by a balayage, so we're not able to remove that, okay? So the client, you know, cannot get a little bit sneaky and remove it. So then straight away, we're just going to click next. And then we've got this screen here, often booked with braids and Olaplex hair treatment, okay? So that is our recommended service. So I'm now recommending that particular treatment. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add it on. You can then go ahead, do everything you need to do from here, change the stylist, change everything like that, and just move through and make the appointment just there. So it's very quick, very simple to do. Now, what I would do if you do decide to take this on, straight away you can see not only have I increased the bill by £70 here for the braids, I've also added on that recommendation of £25, which is roughly, well, it's exactly £95. I've almost increased the bill by 50%, okay, in just a couple of minutes. Moving forward, this client, I'm sure 9 times out of 10 will continue having that Olaplex hair treatment. Now, if you do take this on, one other thing I would recommend, other than adding those descriptions in, is in your online console. This just here, this can be found at console.shortcutsoftware.com. I would recommend going to company settings, scrolling all the way down to your please note text just here. So you can see currently our color services do not include a finishing service, okay? We may wish, if you've got any kind of T's and C's or any wording like this, it may be worth just changing that to say they do require, and you will be prompted to book that in now. Now, alongside this, what I would do, you might be thinking, you know what? Well, I've increased the bill by, I think it was about £95. You said we've increased it by almost 50% that bill. What about if the client no-shows? Okay. On the back of this, if you haven't already, ladies and gents, we should be taking those deposits, whether it's a 10%, 20%, 50%, whatever it may be. We should be taking those deposits, especially if you are now booking those extra related and recommended services. Okay. So we do have coming up in the next couple of months, I believe we do have a dedicated service for upfront payments. I believe, just looking at quite a lot of you, I'm familiar with quite a few of you. I believe some of you already do have upfront payments, deposits through the app and online booking, everything like that. So I'm going to very quickly demonstrate how it will work. But if you do want an extra video, if you do want a demonstration, if you do want more details, please just do let me know at the end. But it's very much worth, if you're already using upfront payments, just configuring it to also include those related services and those recommended services. For those of you that are not using upfront payments, a deposit scheme through online booking or the app, it's very quick and simple to set up. All you require is a Stripe account, but we can talk a little bit more about that in detail. You can go to your online booking settings tile just here, and we can go to upfront payment settings on the right hand side. And we can see I've just created a very quick rule here, just called related services. So if I go into edit rule properties, you can see I've just called it related services. You don't need to create a brand new one if you've already got all of your upfront payments configured for all services and all employees. You don't need to do that at all. This is just to make it nice and simple. And then underneath, you can see I've just added in booking is for employees, all employees, and I've just added it in for braids and a balayage just there. Okay. Like I said, if you've already got an upfront payment set up for all employees and all services, that will automatically include your related and recommended services. You do not need to create one separately. So it's very quick, very simple to set up. I've set up 100% one. It's 100% deposit. And that's only going to be applicable just for my braids and my balayage. So what I'm going to do, to make an appointment. So we can see the total just there. And we can see the deposit is 250. Now, the reason that is, you might have noticed just before, the bill was 275. The reason it's only 250 for the 100% is it's only taken into account for me my braids and my balayage, which comes to £250. I've not added in my recommended service of the treatment. I didn't add that into my upfront payments or anything like that. I only added in my braids and my balayage to be taken. But definitely, if you are using upfront payments and you do decide to take related and recommended services on, if you haven't already, definitely update your upfront payment rule here to include those related and recommended services. You may have it already set up for all services, all employees, and in which case it will do it automatically. But if not, if you're joining me thinking I've not got related services and I've not got upfront payments, definitely drop me a message at the end. We should definitely get you set up with both of them. Now, unfortunately, there isn't a dedicated report for related services just yet. But what I would very much recommend you do, remember, related and recommended services is only available through the app and online booking. So what I would recommend you do, when an appointment is made online, let's see if I've got one moving forward. I'm not going to have one. Someone's wiped all of my appointments off. I'm just going to very quickly pretend an appointment has been made online. Apologies, I thought I had some on here. So let's just pretend this was booked online. What you'll probably be aware of, when a client books online, it appears in this yellow color just here. You'll also have a little post-it note just here at the top. So what I would very much recommend we all do is take a look for all of the appointments that were booked online. Now, you don't have to go through the days to find your appointments in this yellow color just here. This yellow color just here is technically called in review mode. So you can see if I click this button here, it would say I've reviewed this appointment, and you can see it changes to this normal color, just like that there. Okay, but I'm going to put it back into needs review. So the majority of you that are using online booking will probably be familiar with the fact that when an appointment is made online, you do get this yellow color just here. So what I would recommend you do is filter your diary in the bottom left-hand corner just here. And if we go to our filter options, you'll notice about 6 or 7 down, there's an option that says review. Now that will show you all of your appointments in that yellow review mode. The review mode typically when a client books online. So if we click onto that there, you can see it's automatically filtered to that date. And you can also see in the bottom left-hand corner, it will give you all of the dates applicable. What you could do, you could click on that date, go to the appointment. You can then see with a little post-it note that they've booked online. You can see they've added in that related service. You can see they've also got that recommended service on there. What I would do, add a little post-it note on there and say, you know, an extra they booked online. They added in that recommended service. Really ensure they feel and see the benefit of that Olaplex, Fiberplex, Welloplex treatment, whatever it may be. Make sure they see that on there. Add it onto the client's history. You know, talk about it at the point of sale screen. Add it on for next time. You know, double click, go into their history. Click onto new down the bottom. Again, add in and say last time booked online, they chose a recommended service as the treatment. Next time, let's discuss that with them. You know, let's make sure that they really see the benefit of that treatment. Discuss it with them. Ask next time and say, you know, you booked in online last time. We added in that Welloplex treatment or whatever it may be. How did you find it? You know, did you love it? Should we book it on again today? Now, I know it's very simple for me to say that we're all busy in the salon with things like that. But it's a great habit to get into as well. Now, like I said, unfortunately, there's not a dedicated report just yet to discuss related services that were added on or recommended services. But what you can do, you know, if you decide to take on this feature tomorrow, before you do that, just go to Tools and your reports. And what you can do is if you go to Employees, and if you go down to Performance Summary, if you click on to View, you can filter the employees on the left-hand side if you wish to. You can also change the miscellaneous items if you wish to. I'm just going to keep this for, let's just put a date range on the last week, something like that. What you can do, we just zoom in just very quickly. You can see one of the options just down here are the averages, okay? So we've got this column just here. Now, we've already said by adding in those related and recommended services, what you can do is keep an eye on the averages for your treatment. So if you decide tomorrow to take on related and recommended services and you recommend a treatment, just keep a quick note, maybe export this out. See your average, see the amount of the treatments just here. Keep an eye on it for each employee. Keep an eye on it for the business. Keep an eye on the averages, in particular for your treatments and your color. Then if you take related and recommended services on tomorrow, have a look at it again. So we've already said I've increased my average bill by, I think it was about 70 or 95 pounds, something like that. Keep an eye on it. Run this report next week, next month, 2 months, 3 months. Really see we are talking about it. Add it onto our socials, you know, get our clients hyped about the treatments that we're offering as a recommended service. And then we can just click done and just click. And then we're going to scroll down and we're going to go to our services. Now we've also got this option just here, service breakdown by category. Again, I'm going to click onto view. You can change the miscellaneous options here to be inclusive or exclusive of tax. I'm just going to put just another date range in there. Let's just do the current month. Let's click onto view. Oh, we haven't got anything on there. Let's see if I can get anything for the last. Perfect. So what we can see here, I absolutely love this report. Okay. So what I said was with my related services, I added in braids as a related service, I added in a cut and blow dry, and I also added in a treatment as a recommended service. So again, in the top left, I've got all of my categories just here. And I can click onto treatments and I can see just here. So I've got my emulsion treatment, Olaplex, Wellaplex, whatever it may be. Now, what do these columns mean? Let's see if I can just scroll back to the top just so we can see. So we've got the quantity here and the monetary value. And then straight away, that third column, we've got that average spend. Okay. So if we scroll down, the third column in is our average spend. So the average spend last month was around £25. But again, we've added it as a recommended service. So let's run the report today. Let's run it again once we've taken this feature on. Has the average spend of our treatments increased? Now we've also got here the percentage. So what does this percent show us just here? So again, if I scroll to the top, I do apologize, I chose the one that was right down the bottom and I do have to keep scrolling to the top. So we've got the percentage of monetary value. So think of this as a big pizza, a big pie, or a big pancake, being Shrove Tuesday today. So we've got the percentage of money. So out of all of the money, out of all of the revenue that came into the business, this breaks it down to show you where that money is held. Where is most of our money coming in? So straight away, we can see here the majority of our money, the biggest percentage of our money is coming in a way of barber cuts. Now, I'm not expecting treatments to overtake this or anything like that. But what I would be looking at is the percentage quantity. So already it looks like for my treatments only make up around 3% of my bookings. Okay, so a very small amount of my bookings. But again, if you add it in as a recommended treatment, you would hope to see this increase to 5, 7, 8, 9, maybe even 10%. So it means those clients are taking us up on it. Now, again, I appreciate this isn't going to be 100% accurate because it may just be your staff are fantastic at upselling treatments, but you might be looking at this thinking, well, my staff don't really upsell treatments. I'm going to rely heavily on my recommended services when they're booked online. Keep an eye on it. Are we seeing it increase from 3 to 5 to 7 to 10%? It's a great report anyway. We should really be keeping on top of seeing where our monetary value is. Do we need to increase our prices? Do we need to do more pedicures, as we can see here? Do we need to do more extensions, massages, dry cuts, things like that? It's not bringing in enough revenue. I'm just going to click done on that, and click done on that there, and just unfilter it in the bottom left. And that is it, ladies and gents. That is our related and recommended services. Now, as I was saying right at the beginning, there is roughly a monthly cost. It works out around £15 for this. Now, I know in the cost of living, you're thinking, not another monthly payment, okay? But we did have a salon that took this on. I can't remember the exact figure, but it increased roughly, I think it was by about £800 very, very quickly, which far outweighs that sort of monthly payment. However, for those of you watching, I know there are a lot of you, and for those of you that are taking this on brand new, we are going to offer you 3 months free of charge. Okay, you can take this on, try it, love it. You will see an absolutely incredible increase in revenue. It's 3 months free of charge for all of you that are watching, taking it on brand new today. And I know you're going to absolutely love it. It's a great way to increase revenue. And then moving forward, if you're recommending or if it's being recommended, those treatments when they book online, they're going to continue doing that. And they've only got to add that treatment on for £15 or £20. It is immediately paid for the monthly subscription for it. So there we have it, a little bit shorter for you this morning, but I did say it would be roughly 30 minutes to 45 minutes. Like I said, it's very quick, very simple to set up. But like I said, do take advantage of it, okay? 3 months free of charge to try this, use it. You could be increasing your revenue by a monumental amount. So how do we get our hands on it then? So all you need to do is give a quick call to our customer care team. So I'll just pop the number just on there. So it's 0161 972 4900, option 1, and then option 2 to speak to customer care. Okay, just explain you what on the masterclass with me this morning, and we can get you set up with that. It's a fantastic feature. I know you're going to love it. Use it, get increasing your revenue, get your clients loving those treatments. Everyone is a winner. Thank you ever so much for joining me this morning. If you do have any questions, please feel free to drop those across to me now. Like I said, if you want to discuss upfront payments or anything like that, please let me know. If you do take this on, I'm sure you will, hope you will. We will always run through one-to-one how to set it up with you as well. But as you saw, it's very simple to set up. But if you do have any questions, please feel free to pop those across to me now. Perfect. You're very welcome. Thank you ever so much. I know you're going to love it. We've had some absolutely fantastic feedback moving forward as well. But like I said, do take advantage of that special offer. Do give them a call, explain that you've spoken to me. We'll get it set up in the next couple of days where you can set it up yourself if you like, but do let us know if you do have any issues with that. But yeah, do stay tuned. We've got lots more masterclasses coming up, all geared towards increasing revenue. We've got promotions, loyalty. We've got integrated card machines in the next couple of weeks, a fantastic way to reconcile your end of day very quickly, very simple, but do stay tuned for that as well. Perfect. Excellent stuff. Thank you. Perfect. Yeah, literally just give them a call, just explain, take advantage of the offer. They are aware we're going to be doing this, so just explain you spoke to Chris on the masterclass, and we'll get that sorted for you. Thank you ever so much. Perfect. Okay, so I think that's it for all of the questions this morning. Thank you ever so much for joining me. Hope you're going to love it. If you do need any questions or you do need any further help just getting it set up, but once you've got it set up, get your employees talking about it. You'll start to see that revenue come in. But thank you ever so much for joining me. Hopefully you'll all be able to join me next week, and moving forward, we've got loads of new masterclasses coming up over the next couple of months, right the way up until April. Loads of fantastic things to demonstrate. Like I said, moving forward, most of the masterclasses will be roughly 45 minutes to an hour to go into as much detail as possible. But as always, it's been a pleasure speaking to all of you. Thank you ever so much for taking time out of the day to have a little chat with me and view my masterclasses. Oh, sorry, just one quick one before I go. So, very good question. Could you do only selected stylists for the extra required services? Not currently. It's a very, very good question. It will be for all of them. There isn't a way to sort of specify, that they require an additional service. It will be literally for all employees for the time being, as long as their capabilities are set up. I personally wouldn't recommend going ahead and changing the capabilities. It can all get just, a tiny little bit messy, but very good question. It will be for all of the stylists, all of the therapists, all of the barbers, as long as they are set up to do the capability for that service, which if they're already bookable online for it, they will already have the capability for it. So yes, they would automatically be booked. You are able to move the service over. So if you're thinking, you want to split the services between two people, that can happen anyway. If that employee is already fully booked, it will automatically split them anyway. As long as the availability is there, it will always look for the availability. It doesn't just have to be the same stylist. If you are one worried about thinking, oh, we're very busy salon, it often gets split between two people. It will organically do that. It will automatically do that anyway. It will ensure that it's booked between all of the people that are capable, as long as they're available. It won't just have to be with the same person, as long as your settings are not set to be that way through the console anyway. But yeah, there isn't a way to just say it's only going to be myself that will have those required services, maybe because I'm a new stylist or something like that. It will be for all stylists and therapists, as long as they are set up for the capability. But very good question. Thank you ever so much. No, you're very welcome. Thank you. Perfect. I will just hang around just for a couple more seconds, just in case we get another last minute question like that. But thank you ever so much for the questions and taking the time out to join with me. I will just stay just for a couple more seconds there, just in case anyone is typing. Feel free to unmute yourself as well if you would rather chat with me, if you're worried about, me disconnecting before you've got the message out. But excellent stuff. Thank you ever so much. Lovely stuff. Perfect. I think that's it for all of the questions. As always, been a pleasure speaking to you. If this was your first time joining me, thank you ever so much. It's always great to have my regulars, but it's always great to have my new faces and names of my classes as well. Hopefully you can join me for lots more moving forward. Be great to show you exactly what we can do. Lots more very in-depth masterclasses coming up. But as always, thank you ever so much for joining me. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy your pancakes if that's what you're into. I believe that's today. And have a fantastic day tomorrow and rest of the week. Thank you ever so much for joining me. Take care. I shall see you and speak to you all again soon. Thank you ever so much. Bye-bye for now.